Oh, okay. Yeah, I got one tonight. Oh, that's kind of...
No matter who won the actual fight, the real loser is boxing itself. Can you imagine your sport being so poorly promoted that the biggest event in recent history is a retired guy who doesn't box anymore unless it's with his girlfriends versus a YouTube vlogger who's only fought twice, neither of those fights being against boxers and both of those fights being a loss? I would quit. Truly incredible stuff. Even though this fight made millions, of which there are many, I really do hope that the next board meeting at the World Boxing Association, or whatever it's called, goes exactly like this. Great news, everyone. Thanks to my work, the Mayweather versus Logan Paul fight grossed more than twice as much money as our last actual real title fight. Right, so you're telling me the YouTuber brought in twice as much money for the joke fight than you brought in for the actual fights that we base our entire business on. Yep, the joke fight made more than the real fight. You're fired, Jim. Honestly, I can't imagine working your entire life, perfecting a skill and getting incredibly good at your craft just to be completely outsold and outdone by a YouTuber who's not good at it at all. I can't imagine this because I've seen it in reality. I watched Lily Singh sell out the Comedy Theatre here in Melbourne, a big goal of mine, and then get her own Tonight Show despite both of those shows being absolutely horrendous. I need to work harder. But just like Lily Singh, you put Logan Paul on a platform that has previously only been inhabited by a bunch of professionals, the best in the world. You put him next to them, and he doesn't look very good. In fact, he can barely stand. Literally, he almost fell over several times in that fight. But going the full 8 rounds with Mayweather is incredibly impressive. I have to give Logan Paul props there. I couldn't do that shit. Or maybe I could. I don't think Floyd could actually punch me. I don't think he could reach my head. Although, you know, I feel like enough liver shots from Floyd and he would bring the tower down. But I gotta give it to Logan Paul. Like, I couldn't do that shit. That is incredible. And I also think the event itself is an amazing achievement. And I've never seen someone come from YouTube and make that much money in a single day. Like, that really is the actual win here, is Logan Paul going from YouTube to making what is supposed to be about $20 million in a day, because he will get 20% of the pay-per-view earnings, which they estimate to be about $200 million. So that's $20 million for Paul, plus all of his sponsorships and all of the Maverick merch he sold, which I assume is going to be at least 2 sweatsuits. I mean, those things are like $300 fucking. I hope he sold at least 2. Best thing about the fight though was the giant contrast, the huge divide between the people that were there because they love Floyd Mayweather and they love the sport of boxing, and the people who are there because Logan Paul's in the ring. The contrast between those two groups was absolutely ridiculous. Half of the audience is just a bunch of third-rate vloggers who spent $10,000 to be in the third row for the fight so they can post a vlog afterwards that sucks, but it goes for 10 minutes so they get mid-roll ads. And the other half of the audience is genuine fans of boxing who are confused at why the event is happening at all, and also laughing at Logan's attempt at boxing. And you can make fun of Logan Paul all you want, but his fans undeniably had the better time, because if you're a genuine fan of boxing, that was just a horrific display. No one wants to watch the best in the world beat the fuck out of Logan Paul. Actually, I did want to watch that, and it was thoroughly entertaining. But if you're a fan of boxing, if you wanted to see like a good display of the skill of boxing, the art of fighting, this was not it. However, if you're a 20-something YouTuber who just likes the idea of the best in the world destroying his own reputation to beat the shit out of a YouTube vlogger who thinks it's funny, there's a big appeal in that. I mean, Floyd Mayweather, he's won 50 fights in a row, and that's not even including his girlfriends. He doesn't need to take this fight. I honestly think that he's just ruining his own legacy. Like, could you imagine if Mike Tyson just started punching on with PewDiePie at the end of his career? I mean, PewDiePie probably would have been about 9 years old, so that it'd be slightly entertaining, but I just feel like it would make Mike Tyson look bad in the long run, and that cunt has bit someone's ear off.
Oh, and some nasty stuff in there. There looked to be a bite almost.
This video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Surfshark VPN encrypts all of your online information and keeps it safe from shady big corporations and cyber criminals alike by encrypting all of the information that is sent between your device and the internet. Also, using Surfshark, you can change the virtual location of your device. This is great for unlocking content that might be blocked in your region, whether it's on a streaming service like Netflix or maybe some highlights from SNL on YouTube. You can just load up Surfshark, change your location from your country to a country where that content is not blocked, and watch it. Easy as that. Surfshark's VPN service encrypts your online data and helps keep your personal information safe, especially when you're connecting to public Wi-Fi services, which is when you're most likely to be targeted by malicious hackers. And Surfshark's Clean Web feature blocks ads, tracking, pop-ups, malware, and phishing attempts, which is just great because when I'm browsing the internet, I'm sick of being attacked by pop-ups. So follow the link in the description and use code Lewis. You will get 83% off and 3 months absolutely for free. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee as well, so there is no risk at all. Protect your internet privacy. It's something that I feel really passionate about, and I want you to support the brands that support what I do because that's how we keep everything spinning. Thank you very much to Surfshark VPN. Use code Lewis. Follow the link in the description. Get 83% off and 3 months free. It's a bargain. I encourage you to get on it. So Logan Paul's audience were entertained by the spectacle of it, the insane element of it, and then boxing fans were just laughing at Logan's attempt at boxing. But that's not all. The announcers, the people who are there to commentate the fight, pretty much disregarded any sense of professional commentating and remaining unbiased and just telling us what is happening in an entertaining way. They dropped all of that and instead they just decided to bully Logan Paul, which I support thoroughly. They made fun of his Pokemon cards, they made fun of his outfit, they made fun of his attempts to fight back against the tough kid. It was basically just high school bullying, but the victim got $20 million. A fucking great time. But even though they bullied Logan Paul the entire fight, the most disrespectful thing the commentators did was refer to him as a TikToker for the entire fight, which is so disrespectful because they didn't even do a surface level Bing search to find out what platform he's actually on. They just kept calling him a TikToker. They kept saying he was doing TikTok dances while he was fighting. It was just one of the most disrespectful displays from the people who are technically being paid by Logan Paul to commentate his own fight. They wouldn't have a job if it weren't for him, and they're just bullying him the entire time. I love it. In fact, as I was watching this fight that I definitely paid for, I wrote down some of my favorite quotes by the commentators that just really demonstrates how little they gave a fuck about this fight and how funny they thought it was. By the way, this part of the video works best if I do it in their voice. I think he's about to do a TikTok. Yo, Mayweather smacked him back to Vine. Man, this fight is like 4chan and YouTube and other bad things combined. Real quote, not exaggerating. Man, he needs to Pokemon Go to the fight. Apparently that black guy turned into Hillary Clinton for about 3 seconds there. Yeah, man, that's cool for all the 10-year-olds watching. Paul is twerking in between the rounds. Yo, I think he's peed himself right there. You see that? He's peed. Something that stuck out to me, and I guess everyone who watched it, was just how easily Mayweather just completely demolished the thing. And that's not really a knock against Paul. That's more just like, oh my God, this dude's 44 and he's still that good. Like someone that young, that tall, that much heavier, doesn't matter how good you are, that's a scary thing. There is the risk of that one punch. I mean, obviously it's incredibly unlucky, but if you aren't fit and you're not good and you're not fast like you used to be, that one punch can get you. And there wasn't even a chance of that happening with how Mayweather looked. Like, he's so fit, so fast, and so incredible at what he does that I was just impressed at how easily he dismantled Logan Paul, even though I knew that was going to happen. In fact, Mayweather was so handily destroying Logan Paul that every time the round ended and each fighter went to their corner, Logan Paul's corner looked like this. Whereas Mayweather's corner looked like this.
I know some things. Let's listen in here.
Logan's corner looks like the opening scene from Saving Private Ryan, and Mayweather's corner looks like when I did an exam in high school and they were just letting us know how long there was left. Another thing worth noting that the commentators, the fighters themselves, the way this fight was marketed, every single person involved with this fight didn't hype it up on like the actual fight itself. Do you know what I mean? Like no one was saying it was going to be an incredible fight. Every single person before, during, and after the fight was promoting it and justifying its existence by how much money Logan and Mayweather were gonna make. Now, if you were sitting there in your home after paying $49.99 for this pay-per-view event, and every single person involved with it is just repeating again and again and again, yeah, we know it's not very good, but look at how much money we're making. Wouldn't you be sitting there going, hang on a sec, have I been robbed by the guy who is bragging about robbing me right now? I want a fucking refund.
Got your fucking career! 50-1! 50-1! Fuck all of you!
Jake Paul was there also being Jake Paul, who honestly I am starting to like now that he's stopped pretending to be likable. I think that was always Jake Paul's biggest problem, and that's why people really didn't like him, was because he was pretending to be Logan, who is quite a likable character. Jake Paul would try and emulate that, but he was just so inherently, naturally, effortlessly unlikable. Very difficult to like. So now, instead of trying, he's just completely given up and is leaning into the villain arc and is just being as obnoxious as possible. And what I love about it is it's so clear that he's trying so much less than he was, because he had to try so fucking hard to not come across as an insufferable fucking loser that now he's just relaxed. It's like he's in his Zen state. It's like watching a master at work. He's like, dude, all I have to do is make 95% of people in the world fucking hate me and I'll be rich. This is a holiday. This is great. He's not trying at all, and I sincerely believe that. Good on him. In fact, he's so good at being unlikable that he appeared in the pay-per-view for about 7 seconds and all 5 of the commentators told him to shut up immediately and said he couldn't count. Then the cameraman cut away.
Logan's beating Floyd Mayweather. Let that sink in. Be quiet.
Incredible. So, in conclusion, I think the Mayweather-Paul fight was like an incredible display of social media marketing and a really big black mark against whoever the fuck is running the sport of boxing. Like, yes, this event probably made heaps of money for boxing, but it was literally at the expense of boxing. It was a chance to get millions and millions and millions of new eyes into boxing who've never watched a match before. Maybe they only watch UFC. And the fights before the Mayweather and Logan Paul fight, the real boxing matches, were also terrible. It just seems to be run poorly. Boxing's cool. Some of the most famous people in the history of the world that have made an impact on culture came from boxing. There's no one there to replace those people, those figures, and it must be how boxing's run. I don't pretend to be an expert, but I mean, you look at UFC and the popularity of that and the story surrounding the business and the fighters and everything like that, it's undeniably more exciting. So I don't think the answer to fixing boxing long term is to get a bunch of people who cannot box in the ring and then say to the audience, haha, we've got your money. I don't think that's going to make anyone like you. Look at Jake Paul. All right, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe. My tour is going to be on sale soon. I haven't posted for ages. Melbourne went into lockdown again. That's messed things up. I'm sure you guys understand, but I got a bunch of banger videos coming out very, very soon, and my team will be back working in person soon. We just had to get everything going remotely. You guys get it. It's the world. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little video. I got a big one coming out very soon. I'm Lewis Spears. Stop paying for this stuff. Well done, Logan Paul. Chess. buy my shit, buy my shirts, buy my merchant, no one gets hurt. Buy my shit, buy my shirts, buy my merchant, no one gets hurt. Buy my shit, buy my shirts, buy my merchant, no one gets hurt. Buy my shit, buy my shirts, buy my merchant, no one gets hurt.